Here's more wrestling news for February 12th, 2021. And your headlines for today include: Cody Rhodes injured. Is Shaq match canceled? WWE Universal Champion suffers bloodstream infection. NXT match planned for Wrestlemania card. What is WWE doing with Rhea Ripley? Huge update on missing NXT superstars. Triple H praises Bad Bunny. Hair versus hair match rumored for top Smackdown superstar. WWE to introduce brand new Women's Championship. Another huge botch from the 2021 Royal Rumble. WWE Evolution 2 is happening, says former Women's Champion, and more. We've got news from AEW now, as with Cody Rhodes suffering an injury during this week's edition of Dynamite, there's been plenty of questions about his status ahead of the mixed tag team match with Shaquille O'Neal. On this week's show, Cody suffered a torn rotator cuff in his shoulder, but according to Brian Alvarez, that won't keep him out for long. It's still expected that Cody will team with Red Velvet to face Shaq and Jade Cargill on the Go Home Dynamite before Revolution, a match that was originally set to include Brandi Rhodes. The announcement of the couple's first child caused plans to change, and hopefully that'll be the last change of plans for the match, despite Cody's current injury. Speaking of stars missing the ring, Braun Strowman is out of action again after just returning before the Royal Rumble. During an Instagram story, the former Universal Champion revealed he's suffering from an infection in his bloodstream, which has wreaked havoc with his body. He said, "I've dropped like 15 pounds in 5 days. I couldn't eat. It looks like there's 50 pounds of water weight on my joints. They're all swollen and inflamed." Strowman did add that he's on antibiotics, which are working, and said he'll see the fans very soon. With WrestleMania 37 inching nearer, this is the worst time for Strowman to sit on the sidelines, and after he became Universal Champion at the same event last year, it's entirely possible that the Monster Among Men won't be appearing inside Raymond James Stadium. Although this year's WrestleMania may have to go ahead without the Monster Among Men, the two-day event may have some of its time filled up by a match from NXT. During his pre-TakeOver Vengeance Day conference call, Triple H was asked about the possibility of having an NXT match on the Mania card and said it's a great idea to him. With that said, the game also described the WrestleMania card as a balancing act, saying they also need to consider how big the Mania matches are and how long they want WrestleMania to be. In the past, there's been talks of NXT champion Finn Balor having a match at WrestleMania 37, so it's clearly something WWE is strongly considering. Last year's show saw the then NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley defend her title against Charlotte Flair. And we'll have to see if another NXT match makes it to this year's Mania card. Speaking of Ripley, her appearance at the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble was officially her main roster call-up, but fans haven't seen the tattooed superstar on TV yet. Ringside News has learned that though Ripley hasn't appeared, her name is coming up in creative meetings for both Raw and SmackDown, but as of right now, there's no definite plans in place for her. As a former NXT Women's Champion and the last woman eliminated in this year's Rumble match, you'd expect WWE to have big plans for the Australian, but that isn't the case just yet. A spot in the Women's Elimination Chamber match could have been a great way to bring Ripley onto the main roster, but with WWE not talking about a women's match later this month, plans for the former champion remain up in the air. Rhea Ripley isn't the only name fans haven't seen for a while, as both Pat McAfee and Velveteen Dream have been conspicuous by their absences in recent months. Speaking on his conference call, Triple H said that Dream is still training and is still on the roster. It's odd that a former NXT North American champion is still training to be a superstar, and we can't help but wonder if the controversy surrounding his actions on social media may be a factor behind his disappearance. As for McAfee, Triple H said that his limitation is that he's a busy individual, and that with his football coverage, the recent playoffs, and the Super Bowl were a very busy time for him. With this year's Super Bowl a thing of the past, McAfee should have more time now, and Triple H did have praise for a new member of WWE's roster. Discussing Bad Bunny, The Game said that he's not been more impressed by anyone who started in the WWE without a background in wrestling, as the Grammy winner is certainly proving to be popular ahead of his rumored tag team match at WrestleMania 37. Though both Dream and McAfee have been missing from WWE programming, 2021 has been the year of Bianca Belair, who has a women's title match guaranteed for WrestleMania 37. This week, the EST spoke with ESPN's Cheap Heat and said that in the coming years, it won't just be titles on the line. She explained, "So much of who I am is in my braid. I think that it's really fun to have feuds sometimes that aren't always part of the title picture, and if I have a hair versus hair match, I don't want to lose my hair. I think it would be great. I'd be down for it." Belair's hair has set her apart from so many women on the WWE's roster, especially when she uses it as a weapon in the ring. And it's interesting to see that she's willing to put her iconic look on the line. With reports that Belair will be one of WWE's top stars of the next decade, it's highly likely WWE will put her hair on the line at some point down the line, but we can only hope WWE would avoid booking the EST of WWE to lose such an important part of her character. More from NXT next, as a brand new championship may be coming to the Black and Gold brand. During a conference call to promote this Sunday's NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day event, Triple H was asked about adding any more titles to the Gold brand and said that a new women's championship has been discussed in the past. "People were talking about that a few years ago, but I don't believe that the depth and size was there to warrant it. It's getting to the size now. Yeah, those are conversations that are had a lot." The game didn't reveal what kind of new women's title could be revealed, but we're interested to see how things play out. It's been 2 years since WWE revealed their Women's Tag Team Championships, and time will tell if more gold for the female superstars comes out this year. At the 2021 Royal Rumble, a huge botch nearly cost Roman Reigns the Universal title, as Paul Heyman was unable to undo the handcuffs attached to the Tribal Chief. But that wasn't the only mistake on the show. In a report from PW Insider, it turns out that Bayley's elimination from the Women's Rumble match happened far earlier than planned, as she was eliminated during Mickie James's entrance at the number 19 spot. It's believed that Bayley was supposed to be eliminated after James had entered the ring, especially as WWE had put so much focus on her as the number 1 entrant. Though WWE did show a replay of her elimination, it still led to an awkward sequence of events, with Bayley lasting just short of half an hour and only eliminating one opponent. And we're ending today with news from WWE Evolution, the company's first, and so far only, all-female pay-per-view. Taking place in 2018, the event was a historic show, but WWE hasn't done a second, at least not yet. That's all going to change if Toni Storm is to be believed, as while speaking to Inside the Ropes, she was very confident about a second event. She said, "I think it's important that we keep the momentum going for this women's revolution. It's really important to me. It's the best thing to ever happen to my career, so I'm sure, in the future, there will be another one, no doubt." Storm also described her win at the first Evolution event as the most emotional night of her career, where she defeated Io Shirai to win the 2018 Mae Young Classic. It's been over 2 years since WWE Evolution, and time will tell whether the WWE plans on having an all-female pay-per-view again when fans are allowed back into arenas. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.